Huh?
Nah, I ain't got no checks over here.
Just saying. I mean, you said you got a new camera. I'm just trying to make sure our proceeds aren't going to upgrading your tech. That's all.
Nah, no sir. But how are y'all doing today? Now that we are here for the draft.
It's draft day. As I said on Threads, it's like the second best day of the NBA season other than opening night. And I feel like you get to see the new crop of stars coming into the league, maybe get a couple trades or two, and hopefully the ESPN coverage won't be too terrible.
Hey, this is where y'all want to be. Then if it gets too terrible, just swing over here for the corner three. I'm sure we'll do a better job. Now, before we even get into the draft, of course, first pick, we all are sure that it'll be Cooper Flag. While they're wasting time, I don't understand on drafts like that. LeBron James, Cooper Flag, Zion Williamson. There need not be any time on the clock. Just get straight to it. We drafting Cooper Flag. But since they're going to waste time, I want to ask y'all and talk to y'all about this past season. The regular season is done. The finals is done. SGA had a run for the ages. There's been talks that he had the best season for a guard since MJ in 98. Do y'all feel that is the case and agree with that sentiment that, hey, since MJ in 98, I don't know anybody that's had that great of a season for a guard.
I think it depends on what criteria you're using, right? I mean, it's hard to compare anybody to any season that Michael Jordan had, but I actually did my research this time because I know a lot of times I come to these podcasts, I haven't done my homework. I actually did a little bit of research. I figured since we're going live, I don't want people to think I'm just some complete idiot up here, but it's really hard. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of great seasons by guards since 98. But I really think the only one that comes close to what Shea has done is really Steph in 16, 17. Just because, I mean, he was just flat out, like, statistically, it's just like one of the greatest seasons ever. But of course, we all know, 73-9 don't mean a thing without the ring. So I think or I might be getting the seasons confused, but the year that they won 73, I think he had a pretty good statistical season. I think that was his MVP year. I think it was the second one. That was really good, but I don't know. It's really hard to go against what Shea did this year. Just looking at all the individual accolades he racked up, how successful the team was, 68 wins in the regular season, 84 wins regular season, postseason combined, and then finishing off with the championship. So I think Paul George, I think he's the one who put this out here. I think he's got a pretty good argument. I think it is probably the best season by a guard since Jordan.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Technically, if we go by all the MVPs that he got this year, he got 3 MVPs this year. They had the Eastern Conference, Western Conference MVPs. He got the scoring title, All NBA, All Star as a starter, led the league in scoring. So, and he's no slouch on defense either. Like, I think he averaged close to 2 steals. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the best season for guard since Jordan. I've been saying it all season that it seems like this is going to be one of those seasons that Shea's going to go down in history books as that guy. And he did.
Hey, no disagreement there with all of the conversation of the foul baiting and this, that, and the third regarding SGA. He got it done, which was the main thing, like Rush said. To have this type of season that he had, and the Thunder as a whole, 84 wins. It would have been 83 if they didn't win Game 7. But to get to that point and not win, it would have been probably one of the, no hyperbole, but it would have been one of the bigger failures of the season on the same level of that 73-9 of that much success to not win it all. It kind of is like a little bit, in a sense, is a waste. Looking at this OKC Thunder team, though, we've talked about it a little bit during out the playoffs. Are they, and we've already seen some moves happening, would you say they're still a favorite to get back to the finals and win it? Or are you looking at a team over in Houston with this man, KD, now a part of the Rockets?
I think they have to be the early favorites just because I think they've got like 15 contracts for next season already. So they're going to bring pretty much everybody back. Plus 2 draft picks, I think, in this draft. And I think I saw a report. You never know what's real and what's not this time of year, but I think I saw a report that they were trying to move up from 15. So yeah, I think they're the early favorite. But the draft is tonight, and we still got a full offseason or free agency to go through. So we'll see what the other teams are able to do in terms of upgrading their rosters. But top to bottom, I mean, it's hard to look at anybody else and say OKC is not the favorite.
Jarrett, how do you feel about this Houston Rockets team now at KD? And they obviously didn't watch the corner 3 because Rush was saying not to trade Jalen Green, and they sent him out on the first thing smoking. With the roster how it's set up currently, they brought back Steven Adams on a 3-year deal. You add KD to the mix. You still got Fred VanVleet. You got Jabari Smith Jr. You still got Amen Thompson. How are you feeling about these Houston Rockets now that they've added Kevin Durant?
I'm gonna go on the record and say I don't think it's a good move because I don't think that they should have traded Jalen Green. I mean, yeah, he had the bad playoff performance, but his first playoffs, he's still young. He's like 22, and you also lost your enforcer with Dylan Brooks, and we know about the antics with Dylan Brooks, but there's no question about it. He's a culture setter. He set that culture in Memphis, and then he set the culture with Fred VanVleet in Houston. And I just feel like every place that KD has gone so far has just been left in shambles, and I feel like it's going to be the same thing with Houston. And I feel bad because I really liked that Houston team with Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, with the young unit that they had with Amen Thompson and Fred leading the way and Sengun. So for KD to go there and just kind of don't get me wrong, KD's an amazing basketball player still to this day, even at his advanced age, but I don't think this is the right fit for him. I feel like they're going to be good still, but I don't think it's going to be a championship.
Rush, is KD the number 1 option on this team when we talk about on the offensive side?
I don't know if he's the number 1 option. I think they'll probably still try to run a good bulk of their offense through Sengun and the pick and roll with him and Fred. I think he'll absolutely be the first option in crunch time. And when you actually need a bucket, I mean, don't forget, Houston was able to get to the 2nd seed this year without Kevin Durant. So obviously this group, even minus Jalen Green and minus Dylan Brooks, is more than capable of winning games in the regular season. But I think the point at which you go out and get a Hall of Famer like Kevin Durant, all-time great, is in the postseason. When you really need to get buckets. Obviously Jalen Green wasn't capable of doing that. And so they figured they didn't want to waste any more clock, and they went out and got a guy who I think we all can say has proven of himself capable of hitting big shots in the playoffs. So I think the fit is fine. You lose a little bit of toughness and some dog with Dylan Brooks, but Tari Eason, I think, is someone a lot of people aren't talking about who can sort of fill that role as well as probably do a little bit more offensively as well. So I'm looking forward to his growth and seeing, him take a leap in the step next season.
I do like Tari Eason too.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Ken. He's in here. 73-9 was 2016. He let me know. Also, we got Bruce Banners in here. Shout out to him. And we have somebody, Kabari Hendrick. He asks, do you think Jalen Green gets traded tonight or after the draft? Does he actually fit with the Phoenix Suns?
Thank you for the correction. This is a draft show, so I guess we should probably just call out the fact Cooper Flagg officially went number 1 to the Dallas Mavericks. As I'm watching my little side screen over here. I was thinking of what I was going to say before I finished listening to the questions. What was the question? Does Jalen Green get traded before?
Does he get traded during the draft or after the draft? And is he really a good fit for the Phoenix Suns?
I think what happens with Jalen is really dependent on what they decide to do with Beal. There's talks of them just trying to buy him out. There's talks of maybe trying to entice him to waive his trade if they can find a decent spot for him to go. I think they'll figure out if they can't move Beal and they decide, his contract is too hefty to try to buy out, I think maybe you look at flipping Jalen. But all the reports that I've seen have pretty much signaled that they're set on rolling with Jalen and Book as their backcourt, which seems like an odd fit just on paper and seeing, the kind of players that they are. But I don't know. I don't think that he gets moved during the draft. I think that if he is to be moved, it would come later. But I think they'll deal with Beal first.
Jarrett, like Rush said, this is a draft. So the Spurs are on the clock. Do you think they're actually taking Dylan Harper at this pick right here? Or are they taking their time right now trying to figure out a trade to trade down or for a different star?
I would think that they would be thinking about trading the pick for a star. But knowing San Antonio, they probably are going to take the pick and possibly trade. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade De'Aaron Fox, to be honest with you, and try to get something probably more of like a forward instead if they're going to take Dylan Harper. I just feel like it still doesn't make sense to me if they're going to take Dylan Harper to keep Fox. Still got Castle on the roster. Who knows what's going to happen with Chris Paul at this point? So you have all these guards on the roster. You're gonna have to give at least one of them up so you can free up your young guards. So if it was me, I would keep the pick. If it was me.
I'm just shocked. This is a prototypical Corner 3 podcast. You never know what somebody's gonna say. Trading Fox is kind of I don't think that they'll trade Fox. I think this is probably the last time that San Antonio is going to pick as high as they're picking for a while. I think most people would project that, they'll be out and outside of the lottery team at the very least moving forward. I know they've got some other teams draft capital, but I'm kind of age old with my mindset. I think you take the best available player unless there's like a bona fide superstar available who can be had with the pick, especially when you're drafting this high. And I think that that's Dylan Harper. You figure the rest out later, right? Like you, especially, not knowing, what's going to happen with Fox. What you can't, you have more leverage and you have more like flexibility if you already have like a future stud in waiting with Dylan Harper. If you do decide that you want to trade Fox. So I think they'll take Harper. I think they'll keep Fox. We'll see how they work out that backcourt because it is, ball handler heavy. But yeah, I'm expecting them to keep it and to take Harper.
Shout out to Aaron. He's in here. He's in the chat. Bruce Banner. I was not aware Bruce Banner was Aaron, but shout out to Aaron. We appreciate you. Big time.
Aaron from Threads?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. We need real names, y'all. We can't be doing aliases.
The YouTube account name is Bruce Banner, and the person that this is Aaron. So the only Aaron I know that's locked in with the Corner 3 is the Aaron from Basketball Intelligence newsletter.
Does the Bruce Banner handle mean that you can't handle your emotions and you just be getting upset during basketball debates and takes and conversations? Is that what?
Oh no, that's him. That's him. He said he's been too lazy to change the name, so it's him. It's our Aaron.
I've had my liquid courage for tonight, so excuse me if I say anything out of pocket. But yeah, we need real names in the chat. Sorry.
Hey, looking at over one of the teams that actually made some trades, which was conversation going into this offseason in the Eastern Conference. Like, hey, it's wide open in the East. We don't know what's going on with the Celtics. They got people to pay. They said, we heard y'all, and we made sure we are now under that second apron. They have traded Georges Niang. They had received Georges Niang for a second-round pick with the Hawks, sending Kristaps Porzingis out and a second-round pick they received. And Terrence Mann was a part of that trade that went to the Nets in the number 22 overall pick. They also got Anthony Simon in a trade for Drew Holiday. Anthony Simons is on an expiring contract as well. What's your thoughts on the Celtics moves this offseason? Getting under the second apron, you add Anthony Simons, and y'all got a little bit more wiggle room financially.
Yeah, I think
Before you answer that, Taylor Harper, just 1 second.
Oh, okay. Cool. So I guess San Antonio decided not to trade it. And also I'm actually very surprised. Oh, we got some footage on the stream. Okay, Tone.
Oh.
I wasn't ready for this. I see Tone got tricks up his sleeve. He doesn't tell us anything. This is every Corner 3 recording is an experience because we never know what trick Tone is going to pull out of his hat. This is nice. I was actually surprised that San Antonio didn't make more of a run for Durant, and especially looking at what Houston got him for. I felt like San Antonio could have made a comparable offer without giving up without giving up Castle, without giving up the number 2. So I was very surprised that they didn't make a run for Durant, but I guess that they're really locked in and believing in whatever timeline that they're currently on. But the pick with Harper, I really love. I think he finishes really well at the rim, which with the stretch, probably what will eventually be the best stretch 5 in the game. I think that's a very, very good complementary player to have. And he's got long arms. I think he can, he'll give effort defensively. So I'm really excited about Harper. I think he's going to be a star. It's just a matter of when, not if.
With that setup though, you have your man Stephen Castle over there too. How do you think they're gonna do that guard rotation?
I think it remains to be seen. You've got a new head coach, although he's obviously under the tutelage of Greg Popovich is on that coaching tree. Last year I think they still started Chris Paul and Fox and brought Castle off the bench. I think you would expect that Castle moves into that starting slot. So you've got Dillon probably being the first ball handler off the bench. And we just got to see how it works. The best problem to have, I think, especially in the NBA is too much talent, right? Like you figure it out. Whereas most teams, if they need more, most teams are trying to get as much talent as they can. So I don't think that it's an issue to have, 3 very capable ball handlers and playmakers on your squad. And I think they all do things differently. So I think that there could be some complementary rotations in there. But I think back to Boston, I think their primary objective was to get under the second apron, which they did very quickly. Like, I don't know if Brad Stevens knows where, bodies are buried, or if, people owe him favors. But I mean, he moved with the swiftness in making those 2 trades. A lot of people speculated that it would be KD or KP and Drew moved, and it was exactly those 2. And they got minivan Georges Niang and some cap relief, as well as some. I think in total they got 3 second-round picks. So very good move, very good business. I think from a financial standpoint, Anthony Simons can obviously hoop. Defensively, there's questions, but in terms of generating offense, lobs, mid-range, 3-point, like he can play. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised how good he is now that he's playing on a marquee team. And he's also an expiring contract. So if he doesn't work out, maybe you move him for something else, or, that decision can be made down the road. But I like what Boston did. What was the other? I feel like this was a two-part question.
No, you covered everything right there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go to
Jarrett. Go ahead. Jarrett Rush, if y'all want to answer this one, Kabari asks, who do you think will be a surprise pick this draft, if any, like someone that jumps up or down compared to projections? I know a name that comes to my mind, which I've heard a lot of people been really high on as of late, is Jeremiah Fears. They have been huge fans of his game. I can see him hopping up. I can see, even depending on who trades into the lottery, depending if there's some moves, if somebody trades down. Another name that came to mind for me is Derek Queen. There's some upside with him and how he plays the game. in the right system, he could have. I'm not going to go as far as some comparisons that we saw of Baby Jokic, but he definitely has some versatility to his game. Jarrett, Rush, anybody comes to mind outside of those two that possibly could jump up, or even some would say drop like a Ace Bailey possibly.
For me, I think Igor Denham. There's been a lot of talk for him moving up in the draft from out of BYU. Um, Probably even Nipple. I feel like he may move up as well. I can see like probably like Utah taking him, or or even the Hornets. Honestly, I feel like they need kind of like a forward at those positions at those teams. So maybe one of them can go. Um, yeah, I mean that's the only one I can really think that can move up.
Yeah, I think maybe Fears would be one. I know he got the Stephen A endorsement, which I don't know how much that matters or what, but I know Stephen A. Was very high on him, or is very high on him. So I think that could be one queen as well. I know he's still projected to be a top pick, but I know VJ Edgecombe has sort of been moving up a little higher in a lot of more recent projections that have come out, especially as Ace Bailey has refused to do any workouts and nobody really knows where he wants to be. I've heard Washington, I've heard New Orleans, I've heard not Charlotte, and Utah,
Brooklyn as well.
In Brooklyn, which, obviously I can understand nobody wants to play in Charlotte, even though I love my home. I love my city. Charlotte's a beautiful city. Skyline is fabulous. But yeah, and then the pick is in now. So Philly's picking now. I'm very surprised. I'm very intrigued to see what they do at 3.
DJ Edgecombe.
Is it Edgecombe?
Okay. Yep.
And I'm very curious to see if they actually keep him. But if so, it's another explosive guard, or an explosive guard to add to their crop of McCain and Maxey. So Philly is making some moves, and I mean, and if you look at Philly on paper, which I know is a cardinal sin, I mean, you bring Embiid back, you've got Paul George, you've got Maxey, you've got McCain, like you've got talent on the roster. So if you can bring, a rookie who's ready to contribute, and add another element to whatever you want to run offensively, which I think Edgecombe can do. I know a lot of people are saying he's probably out of the bunch between him and Bailey. He's probably the most ready to contribute. I think Philly can still be a formidable team in the East, especially with Boston and Indy. Falling out as most people would expect, not falling out, but taking steps back. So I like the pick. I think VJ's got some it factor to him. I think if you look at him, he's got it. So I think he's going to be really, really good. So I'm excited to watch him.
I loved everything I heard, and I felt that they was going to draft him just off of some of his interviews before. He already has the mindset. They asked him, how would you feel playing for the Sixers? And his answer was, hey, I get to play with the likes of Joel Embiid, former MVP Paul George, MVP runner-up. You got Tyrese Maxey, Jarrett McCain, and Nick Nurse is a defensive coach, and I love to play defense. Sign me up for that 7 days a week. Give me that 7 days a week. A rookie coming in, super athletic, and he just want to play defense and just fit in. Sign me up for that every single day of the week. Jarrett, I mentioned Drew Holiday got traded. Reports already came out. Drew don't want to be there. Drew do not want to be in Portland. I thought if he went to Portland, that would actually be a nice pickup. They played well at the end of last year. You add Drew Holiday to that team with Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson and Chauncey Billups at coach and Klingon, that they probably be a nice little playing team, possibly a playoff team. But he don't want to be there. Who are some teams that come to your mind that should be in that Drew Holiday sweepstakes?
They got Desmond Bain now, but I would think probably Drew Holiday would go to Orlando. That would have been a nice pickup for them. Even if Philly found a way to bring him back home, I would feel like that would be a nice pickup because Kyle Lowry's on his last leg, so you replace Kyle with Drew, who Drew was significantly younger, significantly a better player at this point in their careers. I feel like that would be a really nice piece to have off the bench because I don't think he's starting over Maxey, and I don't know what they're gonna do with McCain because they just drafted the guard, so who knows? But I thought Holiday would be a nice pickup for Philly.
All right, we'll see if he sends him back there. The thing is, with the Drew Holiday, which kind of makes it a little bit more complicated, he is owed 32.4 this year, 37 next year, and 36, I believe, the last year of his contract. I don't think he's going to do the buyout option because I'm pretty confident in saying this. Unless he has an SGA type of season next year, he ain't seeing 37 again. So if I'm him, I understand him and his agent. I'm pleading with y'all. Find somewhere to trade me because I don't want to do a buyout and take less money. I get it. It makes sense. Looking at your Wizards made a trade, and I won't say your Wizards. You cover the team. You're a Knicks fan, but you do bleed a little bit of gold and blue, a little bit in one of your arms. They decided to get rid of Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey to send them to the Pelicans. Couple draft picks. Wizards got back CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk. Thoughts on this trade? How are y'all feeling about it? Who won the trade? Very early, but we talking about NBA offseason. You know this is part of the discussion. So who do you have early winning that trade?
CJ McCollum is a great player. Like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, Wizards fans specifically, bashing the trade because CJ McCollum is older. He's 33. Jordan Poole's 25. Don't get me wrong, CJ McCollum is still a bucket getter. He averaged 20 points for 10 straight seasons. He can play off the ball because he's done it with Damian Lillard. Beginning of his career, he's won Most Improved. He's able to play point guard as well, so he could play both. He could play both combo guards. So he also has a lower usage rate than Jordan Poole, which shows that all right, I can play, with these other young players who's going to try to get theirs while I can still go and get mine. So ultimately, Poole going to the Pelicans does help him in his career because he's now going to be that lead guard, barring whatever happens with Murray. But Poole, Zion, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, that's a nice four-player core right there. If Zion can stay healthy, and they decided to keep him, which I haven't heard no reports about them trying to trade him. So I feel like that team, I don't know if they can make the playoffs yet, but we just have to see how they mesh together, if they can stay healthy. But I feel like it's a win-win for both sides, honestly. Let's just get another vet that they can lean on who can actually still score the ball. Not like how Middleton was last year, who he's a great vet, but he's not the same player he used to be. He doesn't have the same pop in his game anymore. Marcus Smart's still there. He's never been a scorer like CJ McCollum is. So I feel like it's a win.
Looking on the other side, though, Jordan Poole is now over in New Orleans with Zion Williamson, and they kind of have a guard logjam over there. What's your thoughts on what's going on in New Orleans, Rush? What do you think the plan is? There's talks of they're probably going to try to trade Trey Murphy. They might decide they want to get off of Zion. What do you think is the direction that the Pelicans are trying to go in?
I'm not sure. I think maybe you look at Jordan Poole, you maybe feel like there's still some potential there. Maybe Washington just wasn't a good fit. You put him with a dynamic talent that is still Zion Williamson when he's available and able to play, and maybe you feel like that can sort of help bring some more out of Jordan Poole. And don't forget, DeJounte Murray is still on the team, and though he'll be rehabbing from his ACL injury, he'll be back. And I'm very interested to see how a Murray Poole backcourt can function. I think it has some sneaky potential to be really effective. But we'll just have to wait and see. And then Sadiq Bey is serviceable. A guy who can play, both forward positions, a little undersized as a forward, but can stretch the floor a little bit. So I don't really know what the direction is in New Orleans. I know Joe Dumars is sort of just getting settled and mapping out how to turn this franchise around. But I'm not sure, other than just getting a younger guard who's still got some upside, depending on who you ask, and hoping that with maybe a healthy Zion Williamson that they can Jordan Poole can just be another building block to making this a formidable team. But I think the trade is definitely better for Washington than it was New Orleans.
Jarrett, my man, in the chat, they said Marcus Smart probably gets moved too. Do you think Marcus Smart is somebody that get moved also, or they probably keep him to stay? Because I think he played pretty well with y'all last year and the veteran leadership in the locker room.
Yeah, I think Smart will get moved. I'm not sure where he would get moved to as of yet, but I do see him getting moved at some point. I feel like they're trying to clear up their log jam with the guards. So even though they just got CJ McCollum, but I do feel like Smart, he is still a really good player. Could be a really defensive anchor for a team on a winning situation. So I feel like a team should try to go after him. And the fourth pick, VJ Edgecombe went to VJ Edgecombe. Conklin Nipple went to the Hornets. I'm thinking about VJ Edgecombe with the Sixers. It doesn't make sense to me. But Conklin Nipple went to the Hornets.
Yeah, I got you. I got the clip ready. I got you. Conklin Nipple was over there in Charlotte. Rush, being that you are I don't even know what y'all call yourselves. It's like New Yorkians. What is it?
Charlatanes, I think.
There we go. You learn something new every day.
How are you
about Conklin Nipple? I think that's right.
Nipple.
How do you feel about him being added to that core where you got LaMelo, you got Brandon Miller, who's coming off of that injury, and you got, of course, one of the top rappers in the NBA, and Miles Bridges as well.
I think they really, really wanted Dalton Connect. So since they couldn't have him, they went out and they got another elite shooter, another guy who can. I think I got my screen on mute, but Jay Bilas is a straight line driver. So I think you can never have enough shooting, right? And when you've got a dynamic guard like Melo, even though he doesn't shoot well at the rim, I think he can get paint touches as well as any other lead guard in the league. So when the defense does collapse, when he's kicking out, it's always better to kick it out to somebody who has a 45 to 48% chance of knocking it down, especially when you're talking about corner threes. So I think it's a good pick. It's not. I don't know that it's sexy. When you're Charlotte, I don't know that you need sexy. I think you just need good basketball players at this point. So I like it. I think he'll help a lot. And I have some investment in Charlotte, just being that I live here. So I'm excited to see what else they do to sort of improve this roster. But it's good to know that you got a guy who can come in and knock down shots at a high clip and at a high percentage.
I think that's a great ad for y'all, especially being that he played with Cooper Flag at last year over in Duke, so he knows how to play with star talent. He's not going to come in there like I need 25, 30 shots a game, and it's perfect. And like you said, they really, 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 really wanted Dalton Connect, and I think Dalton Connect really, really wants to be over there as well with how everything turned out. That was kind of a little weird for him, but that's a great pickup. Yeah, that's a great pickup for them. Jarrett, I want to ask you this, right? So
hold up, can I jump in right quick? Going back to Washington, I know a lot of people on its face, they're like, why would you trade young for old? One, shout out to Trayvon Edwards on Threads. Dropped the stat that CJ's scored 20 points per game the last 10 seasons, I believe. And if you look at CJ's and Jordan Poole's stats last year, they're almost identical. So not only do you get similar production, pretty much the same production that Jordan was giving you, you get it in an established veteran who also happens to be on an expiring contract. And if you look toward next season, Washington has projected like $100 million of free cap space. It probably won't end up being that when you take into account, rookies who you draft and extensions. But I think it's a play to be really competitive this year, maybe even shift the playoffs. I think they got an outside chance with this roster, assuming people stay healthy. When you got Middleton, you've got CJ, you've got the young guys who they had last year who are all going to be better. I don't think it's off the table. And then next year you can go add more of the guys that you actually want to make the team better. So I just kind of wanted to add that in. Sorry.
Bruce Banner, aka Aaron, said the issue with CJ is his health. Will he stay healthy? We've seen over the last couple of seasons, different injuries have came up that prevented him. Because I remember it was either last year or the year before that. He was borderline all-star level over there with New Orleans. Could argue was the best player at times for that team, and then got injured and changed the complete complexity of the team. So CJ definitely needs to be injured. And to your point, Ken said the same thing. The Wizards are loading up for free agency in 2026. The thing with that, and Jerry, you can let me know if you think it will be successful, though. In past history, even Gilbert Arenas has talked about it. Wizards typically aren't a place where free agents come. But do you think that's kind of that narrative is changing now with the young pieces that you guys do have and the way that y'all been competing?
I think the narrative for Washington amongst the fan base has been as they don't know how to run things, blah blah blah. But when the vets came here, they said very frequently that these players know how to play. The organization is ran well. And I feel like the narrative is changing. So I feel like that it is going to be a new shift in free agency soon, especially with all the cap space that they have. So I can see them making some moves in 2026.
Yeah, and forget whether guys want to play in Chocolate City or not, which I wouldn't mind living in Chocolate City. It's a very beautiful city. As somebody who was born and raised in Northern Virginia, spent a decent amount of time there. But yeah, you got to go where there's cap space. So if guys want to get paid a certain amount, it's going to be slim pickings in terms of what teams can offer them that number when you're talking about the CBA and aprons and things like that. So yeah, I think Washington could be in play to nab some guys next summer.
So if you did not catch on by seeing that clip right there, the Utah Jazz have selected Ace Bailey, despite him saying he ain't want to go there. I am not surprised in that regard, being that it's Danny Ainge. I don't care what you want as the player. I'm going to do what I want as the GM and what's best for the team. What's y'all initial reactions to the Utah Jazz drafting Ace Bailey, and that man did not want to go there?
Honestly, that is going to be a good situation for him because he's probably going to get a lot of shots to Utah. I'm actually more shocked because there's been a lot of rumors that he's going to go to Washington. Wow, I'm shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really shocked.
Yeah, I'm shocked as well. I didn't. I was very intrigued to see where Ace would land, and to see which teams would actually call his bluff. Which team would call his bluff? If it was one of Brooklyn or Charlotte or Utah, say, okay, you don't want to come here. Okay, maybe we'll be like, no. Danny Ainge said, you're the best player available. For all we know, this is what Danny said. You're the best player available. We need a guy and a guy who projects to be our future guy. So guess what? You come to Utah So we'll see. I don't know if they plan on trading. I know there's been a lot of rumors of them being interested in Jaylen Brown and throwing some offers Boston's way. I don't know if Boston would have any interest in Ace Bailey if Utah packaged him with somebody else. I don't know, but it's definitely a very good pick for Utah because they need a piece to build around, and Ace can definitely be that, I think.
Especially being that if they decide to actually move Lauri Markkanen has been in, I feel like the last 3-4 years, he's been in trade talks. This might be the summer that he actually does get moved. And to Jarrett's point, looking at the roster, I don't see why he can't get at least 15, 20 shots. You got John Collins over there, Isaiah Collier, Jayden Springer, of course, Keontae George and Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. He got to get his shots up too, but I'm just as shocked as y'all. I did not think.
Yeah, I thought for sure Washington, and if he got past Washington, he'd go to New Orleans. But it's good get for Utah.
I wish I could have seen this live. Like, what's his facial expression walking on the stage? Knowing that was one of the places that was rumored he definitely did not want to go to, was Utah. I guarantee it's a lot of players that would love that chocolate city over Utah as well. So,
hey,
prayers up for Ace Bailey.
I hear the mountains are nice out there, though. I can't speak from experience, but that's what I hear. I'm just saying, if you're into scenery and stuff, I mean, it's beautiful.
Hey.
We got any questions in the chat? I'm sorry, I should let you quarterback, but I'm excited. It's our first live during the draft.
You said what?
Any questions in the chat? Any comments?
Let me check. Ace Bailey got mind control over Danny Ainge. 20 from CJ isn't as entertaining as a pool party.
Hey, you want to be entertained or you want to win?
That's what we got so far.
I don't know.
Comments going back and forth. Some of the things that we already said, like Aaron mentioned, $100 million in cap relief, essentially in 1 year for that Washington Wizard. So they locked in with us. They saying the same stuff. We on the same page. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What's the young kids be saying? The chat, the streamers on the chat. Yeah, shout out to the chat.
Hey, speaking of streamers, do you know they had a streamer prom like last weekend?
Yes.
No, blew my mind. Like the concept. I mean, I guess it's just like a big streamer kickback, but they called it a prom. Like people dressed up, and I guess because I'm not really into consuming streamers per se, I don't really get it. But I know that they had a streamer prom, and I just thought that was very interesting to call it a prom. I guess why not just call it like streamer bash or streamer kickback? I know that's probably not as sexy, but I was just like, yo, these dudes is like really having a prom. That's interesting.
Interesting is the right word. And don't worry, we all grown men here with kids and jobs. We don't have time to watch 5-8 hour streams. That is not, it ain't meant for us. I understood the concept. It's a great idea. It's more content.
Yeah.
But it ain't. I was just talking to somebody about this. Kai ain't trying to have Rush, Tone, or Jarrett watch his streams. That's not who it's for. No. And we don't have the time to watch 5-hour streams.
I mean, shout out to everyone who is a streamer and is successful and everybody who was there, because I know there were some big names in the streamer verse who were there. So I'm not hating on successful people. Do your thing. It was just I'm a little older now. Like I got called Unc for the first time at my wife's cousin's wedding, and honestly, I had to sit with it for a minute. I didn't know how to take it, but me not knowing that there was a streamer prom kind of confirms the fact that I am in Unc territory, because there's stuff going on in the world that I got no clue about. So maybe I'll check the next one out. I don't know, but you mentioned streamers. I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry. This is NBA draft recording, not streamers. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, we are streamers technically.
We are streaming now. I guess we're part of the fraternity.
Hey, Aaron said it hasn't been reported yet, but I think it's safe to take Aaron's word. He's predicted a couple of picks already in this chat alone. He says Trey Johnson is going at 6. Wizards got rid of Poole so they could clear the way for Trey and Bub to get him up. And I like the idea of Trey learning from CJ. So Trey Johnson, 6 to the Wizards. How are you feeling about Trey being able to learn from CJ and another young piece with Koulibaly and Sarr as well?
I want Derek Queen. That's who I want. I want Derek Queen. That is who I want. But I mean, how tall is Trey Johnson? Like 6'1", right?
No, he's like 6'7", I think.
6'7". Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean,
6'6", 190 from Texas. He gets comparisons to Chris Middleton, who was on the squad, and Nick Young.
Oof. We talk about spectrum.
Yeah, Nick Young is crazy.
Man, that's Middleton, Nick Young. That's total opposite ends of the spectrum. But I do think one common theme between the two of those guys is that they're big shot takers. Like they're not afraid to take. Nick's not afraid to take any shot, let alone a big shot. And neither is Chris, because he definitely hit some big ones with Milwaukee on their way to a championship. So I think that those are fair comps.
6'4", by the way. I was corrected. 6'4". He did shoot 39.7 from three-point line at Texas. So you add some more shooting to that team, which I think is never a bad thing, having as much shooting as possible. So shout out to them adding that right there. On the Hawks side,
are y'all looking at his draft outfit?
Trey Johnson?
Yeah. Is that it?
I see it.
Oh, he's got on I don't know if those are capris or just shorts. He's got on like a suit, but the bottoms are like shorts.
Okay, real quick, story time.
I can't see it yet.
My wedding. I pulled out the LeBron shorts.
Oh, what in the hell? No, I'm sorry, Tom. I just saw his shorts.
I ain't seen them yet, but for my actual wedding, I pulled out the shorts. My wife's family. Hey, can you put some long pants on? Can you convince me to put some long pants on? Nope. I had the shorts walking down the aisle for the wedding. So shout out to Dre Johnson. I stand with you, my brother. I don't know what you look like.
Shout out to your wife for being willing to
I'm about to say that,
yeah. You wear shorts down the aisle on because it's her biggest day of her life. And like you don't matter. It's her biggest day. So shout out to her for going through with it.
That's what matters.
Back to
well, damn, that was a quick pivot. I mean, you didn't want us to stay on the shorts topic, did you?
I'm gonna see if I find the pic. I'll post it in here. Aaron said, I can't say this is a safe place. Yeah, Ken, it's a safe place. Get it off. Say what you gotta say. Aaron said the better comp for Trey Johnson is Allen Houston.
Okay.
And I'm not mad at that. I actually like that.
I trust Aaron's basketball analysis over most people, so
I was reading somebody else's website just now. Allen Houston, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, admittedly, I'm more of the Zach Lowe mold in that I don't watch a whole lot of college ball, so I don't see a lot of these guys other than like YouTube clips until they get to summer league. But I like it's anytime you can be compared to Allen Houston, I think that that's a great comp to have.
Hawks and Kristaps Porzingis. What does that mean for the Hawks? You got Porzingis, you got Dyson Daniels, you got Jalen Johnson coming off an injury, Trey Young, of course, and then you add Kristaps.
I think some teams in the East are going to make moves to try to take advantage of what seemingly is a gap year for a couple of teams next year. So you get Jalen Johnson back healthy. Another year for Reese Shea. Dyson Daniels is going to be, another year under his belt. You know what you're getting in Trey. If KP can stay healthy, which I know, people in the chat, people out there on the internet, I know It's the biggest if probably in the world. But if KP can stay healthy, I said it on Threads. I kind of like it. I don't know how much I like it. I don't know if I like it like top 4 seed or if I like it like 5, 6, or if it's playing like it. But I like it. I like it.
What's your thoughts on Jarrett, the Pacers? They were definitely in conversations. Tyrese stays healthy. Hey, they could be back, especially with how the East look. They could be back here next year. Obviously, Tyrese is out with the Achilles injury. Twofold, because I know where you want to go. I can feel it subconsciously where you want to go once you saw Tyrese got injured. But before we even talk about that aspect of it, where do you think the Pacers go from here next season? How well do you think they'll do without Tyrese, being that they are a highly potent offense that kind of does it by committee?
I still feel like they can compete, even without Tyrese, even though he is their engine per se. Um, I do feel like they probably need to get another guard that can really push the pace to keep it going, just to hold the fort until Tyrese come back. Because I still like TJ McConnell off the bench. I don't think he should be a starter full time. Um, I feel like they could still be a playoff contention team, top top six, top six. But I feel like they're still in a good position. They just need to I guess if whoever's their free agents try to resign them or find something better. I feel like I feel like this is the season. The next season, Ben Mathurin can take that leap as that second option where he is back in the starting lineup and he can really show that he could be that bucket getter for them along with Siakam.
Now, Jay Will must have been texting you before he did his video. Do you feel now that there's even more credence that the league should shorten the season when we have a year that we have 8 Achilles tears in the same season, and it was younger players this year, not the Kobe's of the world, not the 15, 17-year vets. It was some young players getting Achilles tears. Is it time for the NBA to seriously consider 82 might be too much?
Um, you know, if they don't decide to cut the season for shorter games, I feel like they could just, stretch the season out longer. Just like stretch it out for like during the calendar year, whatever, just longer time period so they can have more time off in between games. Maybe make the All-Star break a little longer. Um, yeah, because I don't think that honestly, realistically, I don't think they're gonna cut the games short. Like I don't think they're gonna go to like 70 games, 75 games, whatever the case may be. But I feel like if they just try to kind of stretch everything out, then it will work out because these players are doing back to backs, four four nights, 3 games. It's intense, especially since the league is bigger, stronger, faster in every way. So yeah, something has to be done. Adam Silver said before the draft that they are looking at ways to figure out how to maximize players and not have them get injured so much.
Jeremiah Fears went at 7. Jeremiah Fears goes 7, and I know that some Nets fans really it hurt their heart. They wanted to pick up Jeremiah Fears. Jeremiah Fears going at 7. What's your thoughts and takes on him going 7?
He's the same height as Adam Silver.
Um,
That's the 6'1" there. 6'1" guy I was talking about. Okay.
yeah, I like it. I think it gives them a prospective lead guard of the future for New Orleans. I think Poole's better suited as a 2. Obviously, you've got Murray who's going to be coming back from injury, so they'll have a bit of a committee there in terms of high usage ball handling guards. But from what I've seen from Fears, I think he's got an elite ability to get into the paint. And once he gets there, he can finish at a decent rate, but they can also find the open guy, like make the right play. And this kid's not afraid of a big shot either. Like just watching his highlight tapes, he's made some crazy shots, but I mean, they've been some big shots. So I like the pick, and I think it's the sort of infusion of talent and a little bit of bravado that the Pelicans need at this point as they're trying to figure out how they move forward.
Bruce Banner says it's weird that the Pels would take a reclassified young point guard who can't shoot. They didn't learn from drafting Kevin Lewis Jr. So we'll see what goes on with the Pelicans if it does.
Aaron, who would you have taken at 7 based on who's available? We don't have to wait for him to respond, but I'm curious what he would say.
Looking at it, though, I have just some questions on it. In the aspect of you got Jose Alvarado already on the team, Brandon Boston still there, Jordan Hawkins. You still got Bruce Brown over there.
He's a free agent, though, isn't he?
I think he has a play-in option, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Antonio Reeves, and you got Lester Quinones still there, and you added Jordan Poole. Maybe they're not planning to give him heavy minutes at first.
Yeah.
But so Aaron responded promptly on time.
Of course.
The person that he said they should have taken was this guy from Duke. Yeah. That's who they should have added. I'm going to just say this guy from Duke because I will not be Kendrick Perkins and butcher his last name. Y'all remember that draft where he couldn't, and then he couldn't get the words out. This great young gentleman right here. That's who he said. Yeah. That's who they said he should have picked right there. Rush, I want to ask you this. We didn't get to talk about this when it happened. And it wasn't on per se the docket, but we are doing a live draft, so we got to be able to mix stuff in. And I know you guys both are great at being multitaskers and being on the balls of your feet. No diddy. With that, the Lakers are reportedly selling for $10 billion to the Dodgers owners. What do you think that means for the Lakers franchise, if it means anything, that they are now selling to the Dodgers owner for $10 billion?
So first of all, I want to jump in before somebody in the chat says it, because this is the internet. They sold at a $10 billion valuation. They didn't actually sell for $10 billion because the owner already had like a 27%, I think, ownership in the franchise. So with the actual number, additional number that he came in at, I'm not sure what the actual number is. But the big number is $10 billion. Like they're valued at $10 billion, which is pretty significant, to say the least. What does it signify? I mean, first, it's just, you think of the Lakers, you think of the Buss family. So it's weird to think of them not being the controlling entity of the Lakers. But when you look at it, I know there were some discussions on how Dr. Buss built the trust in that, as the kids died, like the amount each kid got, like it shifted. So they just wanted to, I think, maybe potentially just sell it when they knew that everybody would sort of get a decent number. So I think it's cool from that standpoint of people being, inheriting what's rightfully theirs after so many years. But I think looking forward, I think the Lakers have deeper pockets now, and it's not baseball where there's no salary cap. But I think when you look at a willingness to spend on staff, scouting, training staff, all the different sort of unsung positions and departments that go into making a championship or just a perennial contender franchise, they can spend there and make the investments, as well as being willing to maybe go into certain financial territory that most teams would shy away from because their pockets aren't as deep. So I think overall it's a good thing. It's just kind of odd to think of the Lakers as not being owned by a bus, but that'll pass, I'm sure. But it's exciting as a Lakers fan for sure.
So just so I get it correct, Aaron, of course, he's watching, he's locked in. He let me know how to pronounce it. Malu Watch. That's how you pronounce the player from Duke. Shout out to Ken. I completely agree with Ken. Ken said it means the Lakers will no longer be run like a mom and pop shop. I've been saying for years, the Lakers organization, they run it like your local bodega in New York. That's how they run the franchise.
I'm assuming that's Uncle Ken, right?
Yes.
I could tell based on the response. I was Uncle Ken.
Our favorite Uncle Ken. Our favorite Uncle Ken.
Shout out to Unc.
So I definitely agree with that, because one of the things that was mentioned that came out was they had coaches doing like double duties. Like the G League coach was the shooting coach because they fired the shooting coach after 2020 and never hired one again. Come on now, we can't. Come on now, we can't be doing that, especially being that we've seen the Lakers struggle with shooting. So it's kind of interesting that y'all fired the shooting coach. I just seen the picture of Ace Bailey shaking Adam Silver's hand. That man is not. That man is not happy. The Nets drafted Igor at 8. He has a pro comp of Josh Giddey. Thoughts on the Nets going with Igor at 8?
I like it, man. Pick and roll playmaker. I think that was definitely a weak spot for them in terms of a lead guard, ball handler, playmaker. I don't know if there's any interest in bringing D'Lo back, but I know a lot of people have very settled feelings on D'Angelo Russell as a lead guard, so I won't jump into that. But the Nets need a little bit of everything, so I think a good place to start is your lead guard. So I like it. I like the height. I like the length. I like the playmaking. So very, very good pick. And like to see what else they do with all these draft picks that they have in the first round, and sort of how they also fill their roster out, as we get into free agency. But I think it's a good pick.
Oh man, poor kid.
Yo, and you can tell this is actually his genuine feelings, because they showed the pre-draft where they was taking their photos, and he told Dylan Harper, "Yo, you should smile. This is an opportunity to change our lives. Ace, you should smile. This is an opportunity to change your life."
Looks like a Nets fan's mad about the pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just saw him screaming. Looked like he was really upset.
Well, it might be one of those situations where people aren't.
But just reactionary.
Yeah, it might be one of those situations that they end up loving him later on. They may not know his game or what he's good at. So that was the thing probably with that. You see it all the time in the draft, and they end up loving the player. They wanted a certain player. I know a lot of Nets fans were saying they wanted Fierce. That's the person that they wanted. It didn't happen. Out of their control. There's nothing that you could do about that with that pick right there.
No trades, no player trades yet, which is interesting.
Yeah, I thought it would have been Court Shan. It would have been something.
Yeah, I thought we would have had at least one by now. But on we go.
Especially being at the Nets have all those 5 picks. I don't think they got those 5 picks. I didn't think they was keeping those 5 picks to use all 5 of them. I feel like they'll make some type of.
You know what'll happen is we're gonna drop off after the 14th pick, and then somebody's gonna make a trade as soon as we stop recording.
To your point, and you let me know if you see this when you watch this game, Jarrett. I'm just reading. Stephen A. Smith says regarding Jeremiah Fears, the second coming of Kyrie Irving. Do you think that's a little rich for Fears, or do you see that in his game?
No. Straight answer. No. I don't listen. I can't take Stephen A's analysis seriously anymore. Like I feel like he's just clickbait at this point. And I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. He can. I don't see it.
Well,
As a general rule of thumb, I have a hard time, and I even said this on Threads as well. I just have a hard time. I understand from a scouting perspective the need to comp players as you sort of build draft profiles and stuff. But as pundits, when they just get on TV and talk, I really think it does kids a disservice to compare them to like superstars or all-stars in the league or all-time greats because you've got a lot of general watching basketball fans who, if they don't see Kyrie Irving-esque, play from Fears immediately, they're like, oh, he's a bust, or oh, he's not any good. And this is not that simple. So he could end up being a player comparable to Kyrie. We don't know, but I don't, I just don't think it's fair to sort of compare these kids to those kinds of players before they even play a game.
In that same vein, Jarrett Rush, do you think? See how I should word this. Do you think that busts are an actual thing? Like, should that not be a part of basketball discourse anymore? That this player is a bust. Maybe it was a situation where wrong team, wrong situation, injuries. What's your thoughts when we have those conversations, not to say us specifically, but in the basketball community that, hey, this player is a bust. This player sucks. This player this, based off of, like you mentioned, the draft projections, their player comp.
If you're talking about like language we use, bust is probably, unfair in most cases. Some cases, some people may feel it's adequate. I think people don't understand how freaking good professional basketball players are. So even if you're like a 12th man on a roster, you're still busting everybody's head at your local LA Fitness. But I think it depends. Like, it's just so many different variables that go into a successful career other than just raw talent. Going to the right team, having the right kind of coaching staff, how well your team does, injuries. It's just, there's a lot that goes into a successful NBA career. So I think players can definitely not pan out the way you thought they would. But in terms of a bust, I just think that's like really extreme. Like, you would have to almost be out of the league within your first like 2 or 3 years, I think, to like really be a bust. But there are players who've had 8-10 year careers, and have contributed to teams, maybe not necessarily winning a championship, who people call bust. And I'm like, dude had a full career, always had a job, always had a spot in the rotation, and, could hoop. So like, how is that a bust? Like, not everybody's going to be a LeBron or a Steph or a KD. So I think it's more of just a language thing. But the word is so ingrained in basketball discourse that I don't know that we'll ever get rid of it.
Shout out to Unc. Appreciate you. He said he had to dip off. Love y'all. We love you too, Unc. Appreciate you for hopping in, tapping in with us. Jarrett, let me know if you agree with this. Kabari said, I almost always, in these discussions, look at the organization. And I have to agree on some level that often the organization does get a pass when these players don't pan out. We all typically only talk about the player and what the player did often.
Jarrett, any thoughts? You can't hear us? Uh-oh. Well, you didn't ask me, but I'll agree that yeah, we should take into account organizations and owners. I think it's easier to blame players because they're public facing, right? They're the ones who we see on TV, who we see in the commercials and ads and things like that. So it's a lot easier to critique a player rather than whether or not ownership or the front office made the necessary moves to bring in, supporting players or coaches to really help that marquee player succeed. So yeah, I think we could definitely stand to have a wider frame in terms of who all we look at and or in terms of responsibility for how well players develop throughout their careers instead of just solely being the player. We got to look at the teams and start from the top down.
Jarrett, are you back with us? You hear us? All right, bet. Perfect. I'm gonna do a little trivia with you real quick, and of course, Rush, you will answer after, but Jarrett is going to go first. We are obviously in the 2025 draft right now. We all know Cooper Flagg went first. Going from 2024 to 2014, a 10-year period, how many number one picks can you name? We can't hear you, Jarrett. We cannot hear you, buddy. No, sir. You might have to go first, Rush.
Damn, because I'm not good at these. Ricochet, Banchero, Wemby, and did I say Paolo already? Banchero? Did I say Banchero? Paolo. How many is that?
So you got 2024 correct, Ricochet.
Yeah.
You got Wemby 2023. You got 2022 in Paolo. You got 2020 with Anthony Edwards.
Wow. Oh snap. I got one. I can't pull it up. Give me one hint.
All right. This guy just had a pretty good playoffs against Jarrett's team.
Which team? Oh, the Knicks. Who played against the Knicks? The Celtics. First round. Oh, damn. I can't even. Oh, man, this is embarrassing. Cade Cunningham.
One of these players likes porn stars and food.
Huh?
One of these players like porn stars and food.
I just said Zion. I said that before you gave him the hint. I was in there. Damn, I'm not good at these at all. Too much pressure. LaMelo was on number one. I already had Paolo. I don't know. That's it. How many is that? That's like 6, right? That's not bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sir.
No.
Jarrett.
Y'all can hear me now?
Jarrett's better at this than I am.
2024. 2014 to 2024. How many of the number one overall picks can you name? Rush got 6.
2014 to 2024. Okay. So 2024, Ricochet, Wemby. Wemby was 2023. Right? 2023. 2022 was Cade, right?
Cade was 2021, but
2021. Okay.
You got Cade.
Hold on. We just had a trade.
Oh, okay.
Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns for the 29th pick tonight and a 2029 first round pick.
Thoughts on Mark Williams in Phoenix? They did. I mean, they need a lot. They did.
So hold up. Charlotte traded both of their bigs to Phoenix.
They did.
Charlotte is something else, man. Charlotte's something else. But
on that though, because that's something else too.
These picks.
The Phoenix Suns roster. They got about 19 and a half guards.
Yeah, but that's a good. That's a good. I think that's a good trade for them. Assuming Mark is healthy, and the Lakers training staff was incorrect in their physical assessment.
Maybe they were just overworked, and that's going to change once the team is sold.
They did the physical after they worked their first their day job. They came and did the physical for the Lakers. You got to work two jobs.
They wasn't paying either. I've seen a couple of the Lakers jobs on Teamwork Online. The same positions in other organizations.
Another pick. They took Aaron. The Rockets took Aaron's boy. Come on. Yep.
I like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, especially with Sengun and Steven Adams back. But
yeah,
again, talent. Take the best available, I guess.
Yeah. But I do want to try to answer those questions. I know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cade. Okay, so Cade was 2021, right?
Yes, sir.
I know Ant was one, but Ant was 2019.
Ant was COVID year 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Okay. 2014. Man. 2014. Who?
I know one. I forgot.
2014. Who's 2014? Who's the draft in that 2014? Damn, I feel like I can't remember that far. Man.
I'll give you a lifeline. I'll give you a lifeline. Somebody that's on your team. Oh my God.
Oh, Cat.
That was the one I remembered.
Cat. Okay. Cat. So 2014. So Kyrie was what,
2011.
2011, okay. All right. So I think I can figure it out from there. So 2011, 2012. 2012 was Wiggins. I know I'm going back. I'm just trying to track my brain.
He's trying to get his momentum.
Yeah. So 2014 was Cat. Who was 2015? AD was 2015.
2015 was Cat. 2012 was Anthony Davis.
Oh, so I'm
totally Cat.
I'm way off. I said Cade. I said Ant. Paolo.
Got another one right there.
Paolo was one. Jesus Christ, this is harder than I thought it was. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think right now. Who's the other picks?
So some names that y'all both missed: Markelle Fultz.
Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is one of them as well.
Ben Simmons, yes. They had back-to-back years. It was Ben Simmons 2016, Markelle Fultz 2017. You forgot Mr. Food and Porn Star Zion Williamson.
Zion, okay.
2018, DeAndre Ayton. And the guy in 2014 was none other than the Canadian Andrew Wiggins.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. When was Wiggins? If he was a year or two after Kyrie.
Yeah, it was. They had back-to-back years as well. The year before that, they took Anthony Bennett. Who's that bus conversation.
You know what's funny about Bennett though? I was actually watching some summer league highlights for him the other day. He was actually really good, but I feel like the situation wasn't ideal for him with Mike Brown. I think Mike Brown was the coach at that time.
And I was just about to ask, what do you think caused it not to work for Anthony Bennett?
I think the weight issues, for one. I mean, and plus the league wasn't into stretch forwards like that at the time that could really create off the dribble. So I feel like if he was 5 years later, definitely he would have a spot in the league. But I think because the ghost of LeBron is what really haunted him, because everybody expecting the Cavs to get these number one picks. You know, Wiggins, who became Rookie of the Year, Kyrie, and then you get Bennett. You know, you expect Bennett to be really good right off the bat, but the pressure of being the number one pick and being in Cleveland post LeBron, it's a lot.
Damn, how are y'all on Threads posting and doing this at the same time? How talented!
I stopped posting after Trey Johnson.
Oh, I got the new Threads new update.
I didn't know it was a new update. We did miss this pick. The Toronto Raptors.
Instead of the feeds at the top.
Oh.
Sorry, I know you're trying to work. My bad.
You good? The Raptors, I did miss this one. The Raptors drafted Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that fit?
He's a young forward. Seems like he's a banger inside. Something that the Raptors actually do need because they don't really have an inside presence. Still trying to figure out what the Raptors are going to do with all these wings. RJ, I think RJ's actually on the trading block right now.
RJ, Brandon Ingram,
Scotty Barnes, and Grady Paws.
Grady did.
Hey,
they got a lot of wings for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jarrett. Wow, interrupted him speaking. Rush, you mentioned Scotty Barnes. That just came to my mind. What's your thoughts on Scotty Barnes? Can he be that face for the Raptors? Because like you just mentioned, they added Brandon Ingram to that mix. There was conversations that Scotty Barnes is supposed to be the guy for Toronto. You add Brandon Ingram. You got RJ Barrett over there. You got Quickly. What's your thoughts on specifically Scotty Barnes and his game and actually being the guy for Toronto?
I don't know if he's a guy, like the guy. I know he's probably their best overall player as of right now, especially what he can do defensively and offensively. I think he's more of like a number two. I don't know that they have their number one yet. I would definitely don't have the number one, although, we'll see what Ingram can do. Although I think he's a number two as well. But I think he would be a very important guy, that he'd be the kind of player you need on a team that you're trying to put, a championship squad together. Like I see a lot of like later years, like Denver years, Aaron Gordon for Scotty Barnes, like the kind of role that he could fill. But when you're just the absolute best talent that a team has, you kind of have to, sort of play outside yourself sometimes. So I know they're going to pay him like a superstar or a number one guy, but I think he's more fit to be like a number two. But they got to find the number one.
In regards to the Raptors pick, Aaron broke it down perfectly. Masai loves unorthodox non-shooting length, like Tiger loves tall blondes. I think that's a good explanation right there.
It's a very Bruce Banner-esque comment.
Hey, the Blazers, they drafted Cedric Coward, I believe. Am I reading this correctly? Jarrett, correct me if I'm wrong. It says that the player rights were traded to Memphis. Am I reading this correctly? Or is he going to Portland?
He's going to Memphis. So he's drafted by Portland and he goes to Memphis.
Okay, Cedric Coward in Memphis with that unsafe area that Stephen A. has alluded to. Thoughts on him being over there?
Be safe.
That's a 6'5" forward from Washington State.
Yeah, I mean he's the build that he's the kind of player model that a lot of teams are coveting right now, a 3-and-D wing. So I think he'll be a guy who can eventually probably work his way into the Memphis. If I think Memphis is where he's headed, then he can work work himself into that rotation. They do a lot of. They have a lot of. I watched a video the other day on Memphis's offense where their movement when someone's driving, they have everyone move like in the direction of the ball handler, which helps you get a lot of open. Can get you like baseline backdoors and cuts, and then can get you a lot of open 3-point shots. So that's what you would need a guy like that to come in and do, to be able to sort of follow the ball and then be able to knock down open shots when they come, and then also play a little bit of defense.
I just want to say shout out to y'all. This is our first live episode where we are doing this like during the draft, so we are going strong, and this is this is not easy. Shout out to the people that do this on the regular.
Yeah, and shout out to kids.
Hey, what's going on?
You want to say hi? They can hear you. You want to wave? No, she's not feeling it.
I think that solidifies each one of us has had our children on the show at some point. So it's only right. It's only right. Bulls are at 12. Jarrett, it's been rumors that they might be trying to trade Kobe White, Lonzo Ball. Do you think they keep this pick? If they do, who should they draft? Who should be trying to trade for Lonzo or Kobe?
Be honest with you, who they should be trying to trade is Vucevic. That's what they should be looking to trade. I'm surprised Derek Queen is still on the board. I mean, I would like, I wouldn't mind seeing Derek Queen in Chicago. I think that would be a good pick.
He seems like a Chicago type draft pick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know what that means, but just like in my mind, I could see him being a Bulls pick.
Yeah.
I think Kabari agrees with you because he literally just said about 5 seconds ago, this is lining up for my Bulls to do something stupid at 12.
I don't think Derek Queen is a bad pick though at 12.
Nah. I think he's more of a sleeper pick. I think.
Mm-hmm. Some names that's still on the board right now regarding the pick is in. Wait, let's see who they go with. I thought they was going to make some trades. Maybe they do it after the draft because I know they definitely want to move Lonzo and Kobe or both of them. Hand the keys over to Giddey. You still got players. You mentioned Derek Queen still on the board. Carter Bryant. My guy from France, Noah Essingay. Asa Newell from Georgia. Jason Richardson's son, he's still on the board. I don't know if he goes first round, though.
Mm.
Liam McNeely. Some pretty solid names. Walter Clayton Jr., Jarrett. I want to rush you answers too. The college champion, the guy that transferred and balled out in the entire tournament. Very good tournament. Does Walter Clayton go in the first round?
It's weird. It doesn't seem like a lot of guards, especially small guards, who are college champions, go in the first round or at least go, let's say, lottery. But I don't know. I'm not sure if he goes first round. I've seen a lot of people saying he would go top 10. I honestly don't see that. I mean, not at this point because, we're past the top 10. But I don't know. I don't think he falls in the first round for some reason. I feel like he's going to be like late first round, second round.
I'm intrigued to see where he does go. I think it's a combination also as well, being that he's older. If you older coming out, typically they punish you for that in a sense. But it works out because typically the older players end up going to ready-made teams that are ready to win. That is in that regard. So, did the pick come in? I think it's
not yet. But here's something that just happened. The Hawks trading the number 13 pick to the Pelicans for the 23rd pick, an unprotected 2026 first round pick. Most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee.
We got 2 more picks. After this comes in, that pick was just traded 13th, and then the Spurs at 14. Do you think the Spurs stand pat or they trade out of that pick?
At this point, I think the Spurs are all in. I don't think they're trading on their picks.
Yeah, I think they'll probably stick with it.
At 14, who do you think they possibly draft? Even if you don't know a name, do they go with a big? Do they go a forward maybe? If Derek Queen is available at that point, do they go with Derek? Like, what do you think they do?
I think they definitely need to go big. I think they've got enough guards. And looking at their roster, they've got enough wings as it stands. So I'd like to see them get a little bit of size behind Wemby. Maybe Derek Queen. Maybe as much as he could look like a Bulls pick, I could also see him being a Spurs draft pick as well.
Yeah, I could see them going big as well.
I'm gonna throw a name out there to you, Jarrett. And I'm gonna throw a name. You tell me your thoughts when you hear this player's name, whether they get drafted, you like their talent, their game, whatever comes to your mind when I say this player's name. We're gonna go with Ryan Nembhard.
Hold on. Hold on, the Bulls putting the pick in. Oh, Noah.
Yo, Jared got the top 5 all-time responses. So we'll try it again. Ryan Nembhard, your thoughts. What comes to your mind when you hear Ryan Nembhard?
I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. What position is he?
Point guard. That's Aaron Nembhard and Andrew Nembhard's brother.
Oh, okay. Oh, him. Oh, yeah. I think I've seen some from him
played
before.
At Gonzaga. Yeah, played at Gonzaga. Prototypical like point guard where he's facilitating and getting people involved. Pretty much kind of the same way that he played, that his brother plays, but I think Aaron has a little bit more wiggle room to his game, and as we saw in the finals, he obviously can get to a bucket, I think a little bit better than his brother. But
I mean, based on I mean, it's a weird thing, but based on what Andrew just did in the finals, I would think someone will probably take his brother, just based on the fact that we've seen what Andrew could do in playoff time. So, his brother might be able to do the same thing, and they play alike. So I could see a team taking a chance on him. If not first round, then definitely second round.
I think that's another name that too next year for those Pacers that can have a very big season in Nembhard. I think he has more to his game that doesn't get to be shown in that type of offense. And with Tyrese being the main guy, I think next year we might see him in the same type of situation that Tyrese was in regards of you might see some big shots, 20, 25-point games with 10, 11 assists. Intrigued to see how he does next year without Tyrese being there. I really like Nembhard's game. I think that's one of those players that if he were to go to a different team, has the potential to actually end up being an all-star. But on this team currently, that's not going to happen. He don't get enough reps. He don't get enough minutes to actually be an all-star player. But I think he has all-star level talent. The pick for 13, you said the Hawks traded it, correct?
Yes. The 13th pick.
Where was it traded?
Pelicans for 23 and an unprotected 2026.
So the Pelicans have the 13th pick.
So what are you thinking the Pelicans are doing right here?
I can't respond because I looked at my phone and I saw Shams already. I didn't mean to see it, but it was just on my phone, so I can't.
I just saw it too.
Yeah.
Well,
Jarrett, what we saw was Shams said that New Orleans is taking Derek Queen at 13.
That's a good fit.
You like him in New Orleans?
That's a good fit. Yeah, I think that's a good fit. Matter of fact, that's a little weird with him and Zion together, since they're both not like really good shooters and a little undersized at both positions. So I wonder how that's going to work. Huh? That's interesting.
How are you feeling about it, Rush? I think one of the main concerns you definitely might have off the rip is the diet between both of those two. Now teaming up together.
I have no thoughts. I'm not even gonna try to BS you, man. I don't have anything, but nothing of substance anyway. I could probably make a joke, but I don't know that would help out right now. But I'm happy Derek got off the board.
I'm interested.
I wish the Wizards would have got him.
I'm interested, like we mentioned earlier. I asked you because maybe you had an idea or saw a vision of what the Pelicans are trying to do with Joe Dumars, but I'm not sure what style of basketball they're going to be playing. Because I remember last year at points, they had Zion playing point forward, and they were sometimes playing faster. Sometimes they would play slower if BI was in the game and BI was there. BI's not there now. You got Zion. Does Zion still play point forward even with some of the draft picks and Murray coming back? What type of offense is this even going to be for the Pelicans? And you add now Derek Queen. Yes, this situation kind of like everybody, I guess, trying to take that OKC Thunder approach, just get a bunch of young pieces and try to figure out later on.
I think they're definitely in a mode where they got to try to. They're trying to collect as much talent as they can, whether or not that talent necessarily fits together. And then you sort of try to work out some rotations, and then you just see what you have. I mean, they've got a couple of nice pieces there. The young big guy they had, rookie last year, can't remember his name's escaping me right now. You've obviously got Zion. Now you've got Poole. You've got a couple of young guys to sort of throw into the mix to see if they can earn some rotation minutes. But what kind of offense? I don't know. It'll definitely have to be Zion centric because he's their best player, whether that's point forward or not. They'll have to figure it out. But he's definitely going to have to be the catalyst for them for anything they do offensively. And Poole will be more secondary, I would say.
So. Again, shout out to Aaron, the basketball knowledge that he has. He definitely, one of these days, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing him on one of these draft shows because he actually gives good insight and knowledge and he knows about the players. Kabari asked, who is this Noah kid? Am I happy or do I need to wash this down with some deep dish and more love? Aaron said, this is the youngest player in the draft. He's very athletic. And the shot mechanics remind me a lot of Obi Toppins, but I think he just ends up as a fun athletic big who doesn't have a special skill. So Kabari said, basically told Julian Phillips, I'm going to go cry in the car. So I think you did predict it, Rush. It was one of those picks that it's a head scratcher to figure out what's going on with Chicago. I'm gonna ask.
We'll see.
I'm gonna ask you. Yep, we are on 14. We're just waiting for it to come in. Shout out to y'all.
Good. I need some more yak. But I don't want to get up while we're live. That'd be rude.
Nah, go ahead, handle your business. I just had to kill a fly while we was on live.
I'm looking at this pick. I'm just trying to wrap my head around Derek Queen going to the Pelicans with Zion still there.
Well, maybe Zion won't be there. Who knows?
Maybe that would make sense. Because to me, they're the same player, just minus the athleticism. To be honest with you.
Well, that's a pretty
pretty big spectrum. I know, but
yeah, it's a pretty big minus.
Undersized big who can score inside, can play make a little bit.
Yeah.
Thoughts on? I mean, we're talking about Zion. Thoughts on him so far in his career and how it's panned out. It was talks, coming in again, the hype and the player comps because of the athleticism. It could be something like a Charles Barkley, LeBron James mix. He's going to be the next face. And it hasn't really panned out, mainly because of injuries. Do you think he could turn this around at some point, and it's just really health for him?
Just think he got to get in the gym. just try to drop some of the weight. And get in basketball shape. It doesn't have to be, him slimming down to like 220 pounds or whatever the case may be. Just getting like basketball shape, and I think he'll be fine. I mean, we've seen what he can do when he's on the court and when he's healthy. So I just feel like he just needs to like just not have so much weight on those knees.
Yeah, I think he can turn around. Will he remains to be seen, but I think definitely. And if nothing else, I mean, if he just gets tired of New Orleans, I mean, maybe he'll need to sort of play his way into someone being willing to trade for him. I think everybody sort of knows what potential he has, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So if you want to get out of New Orleans, and this is not me saying he wants to, like, I'm just theorizing. Like, if you want to get out of New Orleans, I mean, you're going to have to sort of audition and show people that, hey, I'm still, oozing with every bit of potential that people saw in me, a few years ago when I was drafted. So I'm looking forward to it, man. All reports indicate that, he'll be healthy and ready to go at training camp. So, there's no BI there. There's no CJ there. There's Poole there, who's, obviously going to take his number of shots, but this is going to be like the Zion show. So I'm actually kind of excited to see it.
I want to ask, you could obviously time into Rush, but we're mentioning if he wants to get out, he just got to play his way out, make a couple moves, things of that nature. A player that wanted to get out, and she got her wishes, DeWanna Bonner. Can we speak on the DeWanna Bonner situation and the fever? I know it was when she signed offseason. Oh my gosh, DeWanna Bonner with the fever. Caitlin Clark has another weapon. Oh my, this is going to be perfect. They going to the chip. They going to contend. It did not pan out that way. She's a free agent. What's your thoughts on this situation, and where does she possibly end up? I mean, we saw on Threads and we posted it. Some people were saying that she needs to retire. She's not getting picked up. Some people are not fans that she, according to them, quit on the team. Where does DeWanna Bonner possibly end up?
Phoenix with her girl. I think she would go there. And I mean, I feel like Phoenix, that'd be a good fit for her. Her, Sasu, Alyssa. I feel like that's a good three-girl unit, three-woman unit. Especially Phoenix is playing really well right now. I think they're like 4th in the league right now, record-wise. Just around that. So, I mean, that would be a good pickup for them. I mean, I didn't understand why she went to Indiana in the first place, barring all the situations that happened with the fan base. So I didn't understand why. And I think that's the reason why she's leaving. I feel like the situation wasn't ideal for her fit-wise, and also the fan base as well. How I don't want to say too much, but we know how it is. So, yeah, I feel like it's a good idea for her to leave.
Carter Bryant went 14. He was drafted with the 14th pick. To end off the show, what were y'all thoughts? How are y'all feeling with Carter Bryant at 14? That's the guy from Arizona, by the way.
I'm always interested in seeing players who didn't. It's a lot of intangible things that you see with players, like they're showing his defensive ability. But I'm just always interested in seeing players who didn't average like at least 10 points who get drafted in the lottery. I was watching this. Not watching. I saw a post earlier today that showed the players who averaged the least amount of points to get drafted. It's players who drafted average like 3 points, 4 points. So I'm always interested in seeing players, how they pan out in the NBA when they wasn't much of an option in college, and then they kind of just. We don't know how Carter Bryant will be, but if he flourishes in the NBA offensively.
I think it's a great pick. Perfect pick at 14. I think couldn't do it any better.
Yeah, that's a great pick for them, especially in regards of the defensive aspect. Some are saying it could be maybe a situation that he grows into like a Ryan Dunn, like we kind of saw last year, came with the Suns, played well. So maybe it's a situation like that. Who knows? I like him as a player. This is it right.
Oh, and the loafers with no socks. Oh man,
Showing the tattoo and everything.
Good Lord.
Had the leg sleeve, had shaved off right there. Calves was nice and smooth. You feel me? By the time the reception started, the suit jacket was gone. I was in a wife beater dancing on top of the speaker studio.
Of course.
Oh man, that's funny.
I'll see if I find a video. I was dancing to.
It don't look as bad as I thought it did. It looks pretty. It looks all right. The loafers is on point. I like the loafers for sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Custom made. Had to go to Baltimore to get it made.
Oh yeah, to take a trip.
Took a trip to get that thing made, but we appreciate every single person that hopped on with us. We appreciate everybody in the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you share, subscribe, like, tell any and everybody about the Corner 3 podcast. Peace.